Hi, fine people of the interwebs. I'm going to work on Mr. Dose today, my 91 MR2 turbo project car for all you new people. Stuck to the bottom of this plastic container, there's a link to the last video where I worked on the car. And the rest of you know what's up. I have a whole bunch of suspension work to do on this MR2, and I'm gonna see how much of it I can get knocked out. But first, I'm getting to a late start today. I spent most of this morning helping my friend Liz trying to troubleshoot her Scion FRS, her YouTube right here. Her car won't start, has a massive electrical fault right now, all kinds of crazy symptoms. And I think that's her FaceTiming me. That is so weird timing. This was not planned.
Sarah, it's burnt.
It's blown?
Yeah.
You're in my video. I was just talking about you, and then you called, and I know this seems like too like what are the odds? But like, yo, what are the odds that you would call me when I'm talking about you, and you just found the problem with your car?
You see, I was sensing the fact that we were both thinking about like the car and us. So look, I'm sorry that I'm disturbing your video, but
you're not disturbing. You're part of it. I was talking about it. Yeah, it's the 140 amp fuse, right?
Hi, people of the interwebs.
So that is the problem with your car. It's a 140 amp fuse for your body control unit.
Right here. So where can I go get? Oh, that is really burnt.
Yeah, it's a 140 amp. That's huge, dude.
I'm gonna be so mad if that was the whole entire reason.
That is the whole reason, right there. That's it.
I'm so pissed.
I gotta put this camera down. It's super heavy and my left arm's weak. I gotta stick you outside in the rain, bud. Oh, you need gas. I'm sorry, Gump. I've been neglecting you. You need gas. I don't know what the head unit's doing. All right, Wally, give me some heat. There you go. All right, first things first, I'm going to essentially tear apart the entire front suspension on this car. And you can see these ball joints were in dire need of replacement. And the reason why I'm doing this is because all the ball joints and the bushings on this car are likely the original ones from 1991. So they all should get replaced so my suspension is no longer wobbly and feels like this car is a death trap anything above 50 miles per hour. As well as I'm gonna start tearing apart the struts because I'm going to be upgrading those as well. I got a little carried away. I tore everything apart and I just ordered more parts. This thing's gonna be like brand new. I just ordered a new 20mm adjustable anti-sway bar because this one just looks crusty and I wasn't having it. And I ordered a brand new set of front and rear adjustable end links that are way girthier than these ones are. These are a little tweaked and they're blown out down here. It's falling apart. And as you can see, I tore everything apart down there. And don't worry, the brake is not just hanging by the brake hose. It is supported on a jack, so there's no tension on it. Next up, disassemble this and install my brand new Coney adjustable damper. And I found out these springs right here are H&R springs. There is a part number on there and I looked it up. So huge win that I have some H&Rs on this car. They were on it when I bought it and I didn't know what brand they were. And I found the part number in the rear of the car because the front ones are worn off. I, however, am going to make some dinner and continue this in the morning. Not too often you have dreary, wet, cold, rainy days like this in Tucson. I actually kind of like it. So I'm disassembling the passenger side so I can put all the fresh new front components on at the same time. The only downside about doing this is if you don't know your car that well, you can't look over at the undone side as a reference point in case you forget how stuff goes together. Luckily, I don't have that problem, so take it all apart at once. A little bit of time lapse to get that day started. It's actually 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I just ate lunch and the whole passenger side's taken apart. I just spent an hour with a heat gun, a rag, and a plastic scraper, scraping off old dirt and grease and grime that was on the back of this heat shield and the spindle. And I got it 80% cleaned up. It's good enough now. Knocked out this driver's side just a little bit before that and gave a light dusting over here with some high temp black paint just so it kind of blends together nicely. And yeah, it's clean enough. I mean, it's gonna be under the car and getting dirty. That doesn't mean it's worth not cleaning now just because it's gonna get dirty in the future. That's like just not ever taking a shower because you know you're just gonna get stinky later. Ta-da! Now it's time to put the new struts in. Yay. For those who aren't aware, the style of suspension that came on these MR2s is a strut cartridge insert, where you actually remove the cartridge from the inside and replace or upgrade that, and you keep the outer factory body, unless you go with a full coilover. I did a video on this not too long ago, so there's a link up above if you want to learn more on it. Otherwise, I'm kind of feeling this beat, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll just let that play out for a couple more seconds. Hello, it's been a lot of time lapse in this video. The reason why I put antifreeze into the strut body is because the manufacturer instructions tell me to do so. There's a general rule of thumb out there that when you install a gas strut insert, like this one right here, the KYB XLG that I removed from the car, that you should add a little bit of oil into the body to aid in heat dissipation as well as prevent corrosion on the inside of that body. However, these new Coney Yellow adjustable dampers that I just installed into the struts right here require coolant. Their justification being that if water makes its way into that main strut body, it will A, corrode, but also it could potentially freeze and cause it to crack. So they recommend putting 50 milliliters of ethylene glycol in there to aid in the heat dissipation process, as well as prevent it from freezing and cracking and prevent corrosion. Everything looks clocked right. That says out. All right, this is heavy, just a tad bit. No! This thing weighs like 20 pounds. Oh man. There's a notch on the top hat that goes above the spring that has an arrow facing this way, and it's supposed to correspond to the clocking of where these crash bolts bolt up to the spindle. This is tricky because I'm trying to make sure that the shaft goes through the notch on the top hat for the spring, and it is good. Everything looks good, I think. It looks like everything is clocked correctly, and yeah. All right. This is my old tie rod end. Look how easy this is to wiggle around, and you can see it's torn, even though it didn't look like it before I took it off because this was hidden, and it's leaking. You can spin it around and wobble it and pull it up and down. Out with the old. The new one, I can't even budge with my hand. It's so tight. Way stiffer. This right here is the new OEM Toyota ball joint. Last bit to go on, and then the side should be pretty much buttoned up other than the end link. Oof. I'll tell you what, scrubbing all the grease off of all the stuff, the old grimy dirt and grease that was all over all these parts, super time consuming. It's a little after 10 o'clock at night, and I'm pretty tired. I felt like I was gonna have a Forrest Gump moment there, but I'm already home, so I can't go home. Okay, see you mañana. Hey Siri, what does mañana mean?
Yes.
Mañana means yes?
Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
What does mañana mean?
I'm not sure I'm hearing you correctly. My apologies.
Anyway, time lapse mode. I'm gonna knock out the driver's side. Go! Good. This is gonna suck. Oh, I don't like this. No, what do I do with my other hand? Go in your hole. You're heavy. Oh, shit. Okay. Ball joint. Hammer. I just finished up the live stream like 45 minutes ago. I just ate and watched the last episode of Mandalorian. And yeah, it's all back together. Just gotta get this brake line. Oh, this is a real treat. Real treat. There's that. I need vice grips. Bend you back straight. I really wish they devised a different way of securing the hard line to the side of the strut body than having to bend this every time you do maintenance. It just doesn't seem like the smartest way of doing that. I don't think I can do this while balancing a camera. Oh, yes, I can. The only thing I have left to do up front is to properly torque all this hardware. And I have to install my new end links and my new sway bar, which are not here yet, but that's okay because I still gotta do the suspension on the back of the car. Okay, I wanna show you guys something. This is why I swapped my original struts out for these Coney yellows. This guy right here is an adjustment knob. You actually don't leave it on here, you keep it in the car. But just to show you, it goes right here and you see plus and minus. So you turn it to the right, it's already maxed out all the way, and you can turn it to the left. And this softens or stiffens the dampening of the strut. So I'm gonna leave it maxed out right where it was until I set them up. But yeah, and then you just store these in the glove box. It's kind of a little bit of the best of both worlds. I have adjustable dampening like you'd have with a coilover. I have a lowered ride height, however it's static because I don't have ride height adjustability, which you'd have with a coilover. But let's be honest, 90% of the time when you have coilovers, you set it to a ride height you're happy with and you leave it. It's very seldom will you change your height unless you're using it as a strictly track car, which this is not a strictly track car. So I think this will work out just well. I have no fitment issues right now in the front with a 17x8 plus 35 wheels. They clear the bottom of the spring perch. I didn't have to roll my fenders. It doesn't rub when I hit bumps. And now I have upgraded suspension that I can make stiffer or softer depending on what kind of roads or track I will be driving on, which won't be tracks too often. These right here, they are little plates that are going to go up underneath here where the front sway bar mounts to the chassis of the car. Purpose of that being as these cars are prone to cracking where the anti-sway bar bolts to the chassis, so these plates go in between the anti-sway bar mount and the chassis of the car, and they strengthen that area and provide extra rigidity, as well as because I'm putting a larger diameter anti-sway bar and a beefier end link, I definitely need that extra strength there. So yeah, I'm gonna tackle the rear in the next video. The new anti-sway bar and end links will be here by then, and those are really quick to bolt on. So we'll wrap up the car in the next video. And in case you guys are curious where I bought the parts from, there'll be a link down below. I got the struts from M-Spec Performance and the plates from MR2 Heaven, and the bushings and new crash bolts for the front and ball joints all came from 2's R Us. So yep, and if you want to know what happens to Liz's car with her electrical issue, I'm sure she's putting a video up soon, and we'll see if my troubleshooting was correct or if there's other problems with the car. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!